So here we're going to talk about the review about what we learned in previous lessons and as well how we're going to move on. So as a review, we learned about the definition of distance using absolute values, and that is x1 minus x2 is equal to the distance, of course, in the absolute value. We also learned how to do this in two-dimensional cases and three-dimensional cases. We also learned about the definition of local area, and that here, the absolute value of x minus x0 is smaller than epsilon. We also saw how the epsilon was the radius of the local area, especially in the two-dimensional and three-dimensional cases. Okay, so moving on, you should practice with examples on above knowledge. You should be able to solve inequality problems and practice solving them as well as understand how to do set operations. So here is a question. If negative 10 is smaller or equal to x, which is smaller or equal to 6, and the absolute value of x minus a is smaller or equal to b, what is the value of a and b? Well, here we have to realize that this inequality can actually be written as this form. So, how do we do that? Well, notice that let's actually first write this in the form of x minus a is smaller or equal to b, which is greater or equal to negative b, right? So then we have to add a onto both sides. So negative b plus a is smaller or equal to x, and this is smaller or equal to b plus a. Okay, so now if you take a look at this inequality and this inequality, you realize that x is in the middle. Both have x in the middle. So we just do comparison. So by comparison, we see that here negative b plus a is equal to negative 10. So we write negative b plus a is equal to negative 10. And here, by comparison again, b plus a is equal to positive 6. So b plus a is equal to 6. So now we have to solve for a and b. There's two unknowns, two equations. We can do this. So here we can start off by subtracting both equations. So these cancel out. And this is here, negative b minus b is equal to negative 2b. And here, negative 10 minus 6 is equal to negative 16. And b here would be equal to 8. So we know what b is. So that now we know what b is, we can just substitute it back into, we can use this equation here. So using this equation, we know that b is equal to 8. Maybe I should write it down here. B is equal to 8, and then plus a is equal to 6. And if we subtract 8 on both sides, we know that a is equal to negative 2. And that's the solution, and that's the values of a, and that's the value of b. Sorry, I did it in reverse order, but it's okay. You know what the value of both variables are. Okay, so another way that you can solve this question is by first taking a look at the way that we write the absolute value. So we take out the absolute value, and you'll notice that here on this side, this is a positive b, and this side, it's negative b. Notice that this is the positive number, and this is the negative number. Same number, just with different signs. However, here, notice that this required us to minus some value a, right? Now, in this case, this is plus negative a. You can think of it like that. Well, in the same way, here, we need to add some number to each side such that this side is only going to be the negative of this side, right? So how do we do that? Well, in this case, we'll set 6 plus c equals to y, so that's the positive, and here negative 10 plus c to the negative y, right? And then now you can solve your equation. So we want to find c. So here in this case, what do you do? Well, you can take equation 1 and equation 2, and you can do equation 1, and then since you want to cancel the y, you do equation 1 plus equation 2. So that will get you, here in this case, that will get you 6 plus negative 10, which is going to get you negative 4. And then c plus c is equal to 2c, and this right side here is 0. So in this case, 2c is equal to 4, and in this case, c is equal to, right. 2c is equal to 4, and you know that c is equal to 2. Now you got to be careful because if c is equal to 2, well then how do you write this inequality? Well, first I'm going to erase all of this. So we know that c is equal to 2. So then we know that if we have to add c on both sides. So here, negative 10 plus c, which is 2, is equal to negative 8. And here, smaller or equal to x plus 2. And then here, smaller or equal to 6 plus c, which is equal to 8, right? So notice that this is 8, and this is negative 8, and this is 8. So how can we write this as the absolute value? Well, we can write x plus 2 is smaller or equal, the absolute value is smaller or equal to 8. And notice that here, you have to be a little bit careful. This is plus 2, and here this is negative a. So in this case, a is actually equal to negative 2, and b here is equal to this value right over here, which is 8. And here, that's another way you can get the solution. Moving on, we're going to solve these two inequality questions. The first one is x minus 2. X minus 2, the absolute value is smaller or equal to 8. And the next one is x minus 2, the absolute value of is greater or equal to 8. So in this case, we're going to solve this first question by writing it as x minus 2 is smaller or equal to positive 8 and greater or equal to negative 8. Okay, and here for the second question, we're going to write it as x minus 2 here. If this is positive, well then this is greater or equal to negative 8. Or, in this case, or x minus 2, if it's negative, well then it has to be smaller or equal to negative 8. Okay, so now for the first question here, well, if you add 2 on all parts, so that you can so that x will just be alone here in the middle, well then in this case this is negative 6, smaller or equal to x, and smaller or equal to positive 10. So here you can also write this, you can also visualize this on a number line. So in this case this is 0, and this is 6, and this here is 10, positive 10. This is negative 6. So here, if x is greater or equal to negative 6, well then you have this area, right? And if it's smaller or equal to positive 10, well then you are looking at this. Let's draw this better. Okay, and here, as you can see, there's an intersection between these two solutions, right? Or at least two results. There's an intersection. And here you can write this as x is greater or equal to negative 6, and intersect, because you're getting the intersection here, and that's x is smaller or equal to positive 10. And that's your answer. Now, here for this second question, in this case, you have to solve for both of these or conditions. So in this case, for the first one, you get that x is greater or equal to, in this case, you add 2, so that's 10. And then here for the second one, you get x is smaller or equal to, in this case, negative 6. Okay, well, in this case, again, this is still or, not and. Keep that in mind. So here, if you look at the number line in this case, well then, if you were to draw out, this is 6, and this is 10. Now, instead of, maybe I should draw it like this, so 6, and then this is 10. So in this case, instead, this is negative 6. So in this case, instead of an intersection, you're going to see that on a number line, if you draw it out, you're getting two regions like this, and you can see that there is no intersection. There is no intersection. So it turns out both of these will work. So instead of an intersection, you want to use union. So in this case, maybe I should clear up more space. So in this case, what you get in return here is that the x values that are going to be smaller or equal to negative 6. This is in union with the x values that are greater or equal to positive 10. And that is your solution for the second question.